January 22nd, 2018 at 7:30. If you'll please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You hear that, Mickey?
We got a new guy coming in the neighborhood, and he's not scared of people.
That's all right, that's all right. I brought Bobby.
Yes, roll call, please.
Bart Kahn is not here this evening. Jeff Lewandowski? Here. PJ McLaughlin?
Here.
Pam Rouleau?
Here.
And Bruce, I'm here. Robert Rizzo?
Here.
And Daryl, I'm sorry, Dan Gary.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Number 4, approval of the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda for January 21st, 2018 as submitted.
All those in favor of approving the agenda as submitted, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay. Number 5, election of officers.
If I may, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to re-elect all the members as they stand. Dan is vice chair, Bruce is secretary, and you as chairperson. Unless one of them don't want the position.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay. Do a roll call vote?
Okay. Daryl? Yes. PJ?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
I'm yes. Robert?
Yes.
Thank you. And Dan?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We are moving right along here. Meeting schedule, number 6. I hope you all approve January. With the holidays in January and February, they're always pushed back a week.
Can I make a statement? I don't know if it's worth anything, but the November one, since it's, again, so close to Thanksgiving, and nobody wants to move it, why don't we just omit it? And go ready to leave everything, go till December.
I think that we like to at least leave it open because if something comes up in the community that needs to be addressed, I hate to have people have to wait 2 months. That's just my 2 cents.
Well, let's make a motion just to approve the meeting dates as submitted.
Well, it's not a motion hot streak. You don't have a second
Oh,
yet.
okay, sorry. Oh, that was a motion, I'll second.
Okay. Okay, number 7.
You don't want to vote on it?
Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor of keeping the 2018 regular meeting schedule as submitted, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay. Okay, now number 7. Public comment. For those of you who have any public comments pertaining to the new business items. Would request that you hold your comments, because I think it's always helpful to have our planner go through and review, and that answers a lot of questions right there. But if there are any other public comment? Yes, Linda?
I'd like to thank you guys for canceling your December meeting. It was a very nice Christmas gift.
Oh, you're welcome. Anything for you, Linda?
Thank you, Pam.
You're welcome. Yes. Okay. No other public comment? Okay. I have a comment. We would like to welcome Bob Rizzo, our newest member. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here.
Thank
Bob has been attending our meetings quite regularly and has shown a lot of care and concern for our community. So we're fortunate to have you here.
Thank
And
you.
we appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity and the appointment.
Okay. Number 8, new business items. So when I open the public hearing, then you still can do your part?
Sure.
Okay. We have a motion to open.
I'd like to move that we open the meeting for the public hearing for Macedonia Lane rezoning at 7:37.
Okay.
Second it.
All those in favor of opening the public hearing for Macedonia Lane rezoning at 7:37, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, the public hearing is now open. Paul, if you would like to review for us.
Sure. So the applicant is actually the township. We initiated this rezoning. It's, as you said, Macedonia rezoning. It's for the land around Macedonia Lane, which is just south of the, where we're located now on off of Salem Road, right before the pavement stops, just south of the Salem Elementary School. The property is currently in a LR, low-density residential zoning district, and the proposal is to rezone it to HCM, Hamlet Center District. So this includes 6 different residential parcels, a total of 4.63 acres. The parcels range in size from 1/3 of an acre up to 2 acres, and 4 of these parcels have already been developed as single-family lots with single-family homes. Access, as I noted, is provided by a private road known as Macedonia Lane. This lane is paved. I've provided an aerial photo on the second page of my report, so you can kind of see the layout of the site, the area that's in question, and its juxtaposition around some of the other land uses neighboring. But I've gone ahead and listed those so that you know the specific zoning categories and what's there. As I noted, the subject parcel is low-density residential. To the north is public and semi-public, which is the Salem School. To the south is public, semi-public, which is generally vacant land, but it's owned by the township and does include 2 uses. There's a cell tower on the site with an easement, and also the wastewater treatment facility that provides treatment for the Hamlet area. To the east is more of that same parcel, zone public, semi-public, owned by the township. And then to the west, across Salem Road, are single-family residential lots in the Hamlet Center District. On the third page of my report, I've provided both the zoning map as well as the master plan land use map. So the zoning map shows you the current zoning, which I've just gone over for you, and then figure 3 shows the land use strategy map from the future land use plan that kind of presents a designation for what we or what the township expects zoning to be or to be in the future. And as you can see from that map, the subject area is circled in a little red circle. In the future land use map, the Salem Hamlet area is kind of outlined with the heavy orange mark, which does include this site. So I then go over the development potential. Based on the current zoning, there really isn't any development potential because the LR district requires that you have a minimum 1 acre lot. And the 2 vacant lots in this neighborhood are on third of an acre lots, roughly third of an acre lots, which therefore do not permit us to issue a building permit without doing a variance or something like that. But in fact, they'd have to do a number of variances because they wouldn't be able to meet the setbacks required, et cetera. So as we started looking at this and trying to figure out how to deal with this situation, because there's a new owner who bought this piece of property, we started looking at the way it was divided and passed, the fact that there is an approved private road in the area to provide access. The layout is slightly different than the alignment of the various lots as they were shown on the original public road or private road approval, but it still provided access to 6 lots. So we're still looking at 6 potential lots here. As I said, 4 of them are already developed. With the proposed rezoning for the HCD or Hamlet Center District, it allows for single-family homes on lots that are a minimum of 10,980 square feet, which each of these lots do have. There may be some other factors that we'll review if anybody submits an application for a building permit. For instance, the lot closest to the road appears to be mostly encumbered by wetlands, so that would present another set of issues that they would have to deal with on that lot. So this would just bring the zoning into conformance with the layout and the size of lots that are there and the existing development pattern, frankly, because those other lots some of them are smaller than what would be required to pull a building permit. Can't speak to exactly how all that happened in the past. We don't have necessarily complete records, but we're trying to deal with the situation as we move forward. So with any zoning amendment, the zoning ordinance indicates that based on section 60.03, the review procedures for the planning commission. First of all, you have to hold a public hearing, which we're doing tonight, and then the planning commission should review the facts and consider the findings that are listed in 68.05 of the zoning ordinance, as well as any reports or other information that's presented. And then after your review and discussion, after you close the public hearing, you do your review and discussion, and you will ultimately make a recommendation to the township board as far as the disposition of the site, whether you think they should approve or disapprove the proposed rezoning. So then, as I indicated, section 60.05 of the zoning ordinance has a number of findings that the planning commission should go through. I've listed those and presented some suggested information. I can go through that right now, but I would suggest that you all kind of look at each of those after the public hearing's over and discuss each of those findings to make your determination and decide whether you agree with what's been written here, if you have more to add to it, or if you want to change any of that, because essentially that will be your findings of fact that you present then to the board for the justification for your recommendation. So I'll quickly go through those and then I can answer any questions that you might have. Evaluate the existing zoning and development patterns. As I indicated before, this is an existing neighborhood. The current residential densities across Salem Road, as well as the rest of the neighborhoods within the Hamlet Center, are consistent in size and layout to this single-family neighborhood. The development of the remaining parcels as single-family homes would be consistent with what we see as the development pattern here. B is the apparent demand, and we indicate that there are limited areas in the township for residential lots that are as small as the HDC. The hamlet is a unique area and relatively small amount of land that provides for those size lots, and certainly this is the only area where sewer is provided. And there are a few remaining lots within the hamlet that actually could be developed for this purpose. C is the available public services and infrastructure. As I've indicated, the public sewer is available in this area. I don't know, I guess I didn't include this in your packets, but the sewer service district does include at its south end these parcels. There's no water available, but everybody does individual wells within the hamlet. And then the private road, as I indicated before, that provides access is paved. And we believe the rezoning, if it did allow 1 or 2 additional single-family parcels to be developed, that it would have a negligible effect on the capacity of police, fire, ambulance, and schools or other public services. D, compatibility. Again, if the vacant lots in this neighborhood were developed under the proposed zoning district, it would be identical with the surrounding neighboring uses. E, consistency with the master plan, as we went over before, as we looked at those maps on the previous page. The strategy and density map from the township master plan indicates that this area is within the hamlet center area. And we also indicate that the open space on the parcel owned by the township that surrounds this parcel to the south would kind of draw a line in the sand, if you will, to prevent, further sprawl of this density. So we kind of keep it contained. It's not like this is the start down a path that would then set a precedence for going further and further. And so then finally, we note under additional factors that we don't believe that the approval of the petition or the recommendation of this approval would set a negative precedence because it appears to be consistent with the township policies. So that concludes my report. I'm happy to answer questions now or after the public hearing.
Should we go back and let the,
Yeah, sure.
is there any public comment regarding this? Yes, sir.
The sewers already ran on these
I'm sorry, your
lots.
name, please?
Oh, my name is George Schukowski,
George.
and the sewer is already ran on this property. The electrical, the gas, everything's done. It was approved back in the late 90s. Well, I didn't even know about the zoning change. I thought it was always in the hamlet. That's when we pulled the permits under a hamlet. And then we find out it's not in the hamlet when this gentleman bought the property. So I still don't understand what happened. But if you have any questions, I developed it. So, and by the way, the sewer lot he purchased, the lines already ran and connected.
Carol, any questions?
I don't have a problem with the approval of this because of the sewer and the tap has already been there. But my question to Paul, on your figure 2, the zoning map, the little triangular by the railroad track, is that part of that property or is it something different?
That's different. So it's just the area.
On Salem Road, just that little small piece.
Yep, the
So
yellow.
on the opposite side of that'd be the township property, east of the township, between the township and the railroad track, that's somebody else's land.
Correct.
Oh, okay, no problem, I don't have an issue with it.
Bruce, did you have a question?
Well, if there's no more public comment, maybe you close the public hearing before you.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Just moving right along here. Any additional public comment? No?
Okay, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing at 7:49.
Second.
All those in favor of closing the public hearing in regards to Macedonia Lane rezoning at 7:49, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, the public hearing is closed. Okay, now, Bruce, any questions, comments?
I think the technicality, as the gentleman's indicated, it appears that that's kind of what was set in place some time ago. It's all consistent, Paul's laid out very well to indicate that this almost appears as a subtle oversight back in the past. But I've always kind of thought it was part of the hamlet as well, so it
all the information's laid out, the boarding, all those things is all well laid out, and it's self-explanatory.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing, I mean, it looks to me like the house, I mean, some of the houses on this road are not on 1 acre lots. I mean, looking at the aerial, they don't look like 1 acre lots, so they were approved
Correct.
years ago for the lots they are. And just looking at the land use map, it would make sense to me. That they would be the same as their more dense neighbors across the street.
Right, so what we have record of is when these splits were done, it still appeared that the zoning was the LR zoning. The then zoning administrator indicated that the splits didn't necessarily make those lots developable, probably looking at the same thing that I was looking at. So at the time that the building permit application came to us, we recognized that the zoning wasn't correct, so we needed to take this step in order for those.
Right. But at some point in time, it was approved.
Right, and I don't have record of
Years ago.
that, so what we could find was the approval of the private road and the number of lots, but the configuration was a little different, so I'm not sure exactly what happened and when, but we do believe that it's consistent with what was planned here.
Bob?
I don't have a problem with it. It looks like it's in the hamlet. I don't know what happened years ago, but looks okay.
Looks like an oversight. We got the tax and everything there, so one time somebody must have considered it was part of the hamlet. And they approved the building of the buildings that are existing there on less than an acre, so we're not doing anything except clarifying the location of the road and approving the lots for being able to be built. So I have no problem with it.
We're going as fast as we can, buddy. I don't have any issues either. I guess it's kind of strange. So the lots, just to clarify, the splits were approved, or was it just done?
The splits were
Just
approved.
done, okay. And the road was approved. Were all the taps approved too?
I don't know the history of the taps. I know that there have been some issues out there. Obviously, before any new home is developed, we would ensure that the appropriate tap was pulled and that was done per our engineering specs.
Okay.
So certainly that would be a step in the process before any building permit would be approved.
So the new owner would, considering some of the issues that our treatment plant has, the new owner would be aware of
Yes.
any concerns, process, procedure, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. I
That just
think-
goes along with the building process,
Right,
right?
and I think you're referring to a particular backflow problem that occurred there that's since been recognized and addressed. But yeah, certainly moving forward, as any building permit we pulled, we'd ensure that it was done appropriately.
My only concern is we have a young family building somewhere. I just want to make sure that, and we've had issues, I just want him to be aware of the issues and everything.
Can I answer your question on this?
So that he can, because some of those things can be expensive. I just want him to know, make sure you ask all your questions, do your homework, all that, blah, blah,
Can
blah.
I answer your question now real quick?
Certainly.
On this side, the problem was the gravity fed. And it just was, when we get huge rains, some of the houses pump some pumps in their system and all that overflows it, and that's how we got our overflow. But on the other side, because of where they're located, they have grinder pumps with check valves on them. So there's no way it can backflow in their houses. Like the one house that's on the south side, it's got a grinder pump on it. They never had a problem with the backflow. He's gonna actually do a grinder pump, which I took down. So he'll never have a backflow problem.
I know, I don't know.
But-
I just want to tell him directly,
Yeah.
because he is, just because there's a lot of issues that come up that I never would have known if I wasn't sitting up here.
so make sure you do your homework. Not that you wouldn't anyhow, I just, a little preventative measures, that's all.
You know, in relation to what Pam's concerns are, there were taps that were performed without getting the necessary permits, so, I don't think that's gonna happen now. That is an issue that you have to be aware that you get all the proper permits and everything.
All right. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Excellent. All righty.
Well, want a motion to approve the rezoning?
Madam Chairman, if I could make a suggestion,
Sure.
because it sounds like you generally agree with the findings. If you,
Oh, we need to go back.
that's all right. If you make your motion based on the findings for the record, and ultimately you're making a recommendation to the board. You don't have to read them all, you can just
No,
reference
just
them.
reference them.
Make a motion to approve the rezoning as submitted from the January 12th letter from Carlisle Workman, that the rezoning is in line with the hamlet in all the, as stated on this letter, that we go ahead and approve the rezoning.
Yes. We recommend.
Yes. Be
Recommend
recommended.
to approve, that's, yep, that's what he said, okay.
I'll second it.
All those in favor of approving to recommend the zoning change
Yes.
as outlined by the planner's report dated January 12, 2018, to be submitted to the board for approval. We'll need a roll call vote, I'm guessing.
Start with Darrell.
Yes.
TJ?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
And yes. Robert?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Give you-
Okay. Good.
Okay, sure.
A little bit more new business, under 8C. Annual report to the board. It's the only person that runs into the planning commission meetings, where I usually I'll run it out. Okay.
So in your bylaws, one of the planning commission responsibilities is to provide an annual report of the planning commission's activities to the township board. We went ahead and drafted a brief list of the activities that the planning commission engaged in over 2017, which you have in front of you. It includes a couple of site plans that you looked at, as well as the number of discussions on the master plan, discussion about the hamlet. I don't have it in front of me, but there are a couple other things. You all have it in front of you. It's ultimately a housekeeping detail. If there's anything that you see that you would like to include, or something that you don't feel is stated accurately, obviously, you can do that, but ultimately you can just accept the report, and then the secretary can sign it and present it.
Private roads, I think, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
For the private roads.
Boy, it seems like we're doing so much more.
Spent a lot of time on the master plan.
We spent a lot of time on the master plan, it shows that.
Yes.
Okay.
Which does show Salem Springs.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, good luck.
See you guys later.
This is
Have a good one.
I think we said the Hamlet.
To make a motion on this,
The part of the
send it to
master
the board.
plan
So,
updates, I think, first one.
Would the master plan updates include like the hamlet, what we did on?
Yes, right, yeah. It doesn't look like as much because it's just listed there once, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
we spent quite a bit of
Yeah,
time.
some of the bullet points encompass more of it, it's reflected,
Right.
the subsets of what's there.
There was much discussion on this budget.
And hopefully, I'm hoping we can finish this master plan by spring.
Yes. And certainly, if you want to elaborate when this comes up to the board, the depth and breadth to which you've spoken to some of these issues, you can.
You make us sound so passionate. Okay. All right. Do we have to do like a voice vote to approve it, or?
Voice vote would be fine, just to accept.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have a motion? Bob, you make a motion?
Accept the motion to accept.
Get you to practice.
In the annual report.
I'll second that motion.
Okay? First motion on the floor, excellent. All those in favor of accepting the 2017 annual report,
Submitting it to the board.
submitting it to the board, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay. Done? Check. Number 10, approval of the minutes for November 20th, 2017.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of November 20th, 2017 as they were submitted.
Second motion.
All those in favor of approving the minutes of November 20th, 2017, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Number 11, public comment. None?
Aye. Good work, Pam.
There's 2 tens that we missed the report.
The what?
The board of trustees on the.
Oh, we can always go back.
There's 2 tens on there, so there's.
Oh, yeah.
11.
I thought I counted all
You didn't want to end on 13, right?
Oh,
That's right,
that's
that's right, just like in the hotels, you skip that floor. Okay, okay, public comment is none. Let's go back to number 10. I can just do it just like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to miss anything. Reports of commissioners and correspondence, board of trustees. And actually, TJ mentioned something interesting about the wastewater treatment. This
The
plant.
sewer.
The sewer.
You know, that we're awaiting the report that
Oh, yeah.
is gonna hopefully tell us where all of this water is coming from. So, hopefully improve it.
And we got a grant for that, right? Very cool. Fix it. Okay, thank you. 10B, zoning board of appeals.
Nothing.
Okay. 10C, land preservation and conservation.
Well, we're starting to make some progress on preserving properties within the township. We've got a few things going on, and as they materialize, I'll make a report to the planning commission. One of them looks fairly promising, Proofs knows, he's been part of it. And we also have here a handout. It's boot camp for clean water in your community, and there's 3 different workshops. One's in January 23rd in Green Oak Township, Tuesday from 6 to 9. One's in Belleville, Tuesday 6 to 8:30. And the other one, and that's in, this is a little bit, let me get my other copy, a little bit harder to read here. It's on January 30th, and one on February 7th, 2018. It's in the Chelsea District Library, Wednesday, 5:30 to 8 p.m. on February 7th. I have sheets up here if anybody's interested in attending these workshops. The Planning Commission's all got a copy of it. Anybody needs a copy or wants to read the sheet on it, you're welcome.
Thank you. The land preservation, did they do any kind of mapping or anything like that yet? Or is that, they've done that, or they're doing that? I know I've asked.
We've done a little bit of looking at.
Like strategic planning,
Mapping,
I've been working on that.
It's kind of over here, you can see how some of it all is, and we did start talking about, as it relates to strategy, what's pretty much underway in development, and some of the bookends or corners that we want to try and maybe get as representative point for coming into the township, as well as maybe doing a targeted approach to some of the existing property owners to get their input on what they would like to see for our township going forward.
And Bruce has done some really good work on doing research on the different properties, extensive mapping, and he's also contacted people about possibly one of the largest landowners in the township about preserving their property. So all that stuff's kind of in progress. And so we are finally making some progress in land preservation. It's kind of stalled for a while, but we're doing better.
Does this cost you guys any money?
We've got a budget. It's gonna cost us for the appraisal of properties. We have different agencies that are willing to fund, providing that we meet their criteria. And part of that is that we have to have the property assessed to see, to evaluate it, to see, what it's potentially worth, so that it's within the guidelines of those particular people that are willing to fund us. So we're in the process of doing that right now for one particular piece of property.
But there's a strategy to these, right? It's not.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, oh, maybe we can get it, and it's all
No,
wetlands anyhow or
it's
something
a
like
regular, it's a regular process.
And there's a full process for even looking at properties and determining why we go after a particular property. For instance, the one that's currently in play is directly connected to some existing township properties. So we look at connectivity and some of the other things that go along with that, and the value of the property itself. It's not just looking for acreage to have acreage.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, our land preservation commission has a methodology to score property.
Oh,
They've
okay.
had it in place for a while, so that, so that can act as a guideline, for determining whether a property meets our criteria, so that we can, don't spin our wheels, we proceed on a property that has good potential of being funded. So,
No willy-nilly. Good.
Correct.
Okay. With that, this meeting is adjourned at 8:09. Thank you.
You want it?
Where have you been?
I didn't know what was it. I got saved my life.
Oh, okay, adjourned. We were glad we didn't like bored in tears over there, you know?
What year did you go back to? Looked at all the 2.5 hours. Okay. That's what I'm moving.
Well, what I'm saying to you is, the second house that I'm doing, we put in
You can make copies too.
So,
Or sometimes it's better if you
Probably
have a
years
picture
before
of it, so it's on your phone.
first
That
one
way you
was
can see it.
$50,000
Yeah, but does your wife have one? She like.
there's a phone number call. I have more information.
It's the meeting tomorrow.
Oh, they send me emails all the time.
Is it just,
Yes.
That's why I'm asking. No, land preservation was last week. Yeah, last week.
Agreed, unfortunately, the zoning act didn't go that out, so our decision dying on the rain, but we can't, because we think it's always just started out.
Yeah, and I just wondered, there was a whole lot of stuff.
By the fire department,
But this is not.
No, I appreciate it.
Daryl said they were not on board, they asked me to see if, you know.
That might be a good one. We can have
And
that Yeah, that's the weekend, perhaps I don't know. Okay, just checking.
What's that? You know what, they actually
garden.
Oh, I know we went.
It's on the east side of Shelton Road. Because that would be an interesting meeting. And it's also going to be educative to hear.
I was gonna say, you sound like a different Bruce. I think you got that.
No,
Well, when you framed it as one of the largest properties.
No, that wasn't the
Big start to the year, like the rest of us.
Gas miles. Here it is, the biggest.
We started out this
Oh,
fast.
man.
Amazing.
Living rooms. Drywall sheet. And they take building material. I want to find out from the residents, is it a salt ordinance or just general garbage? Because if it's a sulfur cell, as long as they take in sheet rock and and you can't put a 40-yard roll on that, whatever wood, decades of
They needed extra. Some uniqueness.
more complaints.
Yeah. I don't
In the water now, it's really good because at the bottom, they treat all the groundwater, runoff water. They have a lot of water treatment. And all drains into that Johnson. And that one guy, the guy with the rain gardens, he says he's checked that Johnson many times. So they're doing a good job of that. For treating that water. So that's why we do it.